On a Wednesday morning. It is July the 16th. Rise and shine. This is Coffee Talk. I'm Wesh 2 First Warning meteorologist Eric Burris. We get together 7 days a week, chat about what's going on in the world of weather, hopefully getting your day started off on the right note, at least updated on everything there is to know about the weather and the tropics and all that fun stuff, and to do so in a no hype manner. That's obviously my big goal here. So let's get right to it. First off, the big story that we have been tracking and will continue to track is Invest 93. Bubble up of moisture out there in the Gulf now. It has crossed over the Florida Peninsula. And as it continues, the question is, will it have an opportunity to develop? Now, here's a look at the computer model plots. It's overland over the course of the day today, kind of around Apalachicola there, right around the bay. Eventually, it could move back out over water. It could also form a new area of low pressure. There's a lot of variables here, okay? So when you see these model plots, the one thing that is most interesting to note is that, that track takes it mostly over water. But that's given the fact that the area of low pressure is here. What happens, and we're going to talk more about this, but what happens if the area of low pressure reforms to the south and takes that trek over water? That would give it an opportunity to develop. And with weak tropical systems, that is absolutely a possibility. So we're going to talk a lot about that. But first, with the hits, runs, and errors of things, here's a look at the radar data out of the panhandle. And, we got flooding rains yesterday from this. We had flash flood warnings posted for parts of the area. The good news is, at least for now, the radar's fairly quiet around Tallahassee. But once we get some daytime heating going, more than likely, Invest 93 is going to start pulsing that water back up. Okay. So there's kind of the wide shot. National Hurricane Center's 8 a.m. tropical weather outlook calls still for a medium 40% likelihood that this becomes a tropical depression or so this week. The big question mark here is going to be that land interaction as it's kind of hugging the coastline. Okay, so that's absolutely going to be it. When we look at the European ensembling, and certainly we're going to look at some of the raw data in a little bit. When we look at the ensembling, this is a product that takes all of the European ensembles and says, all right, how many of you, what percentage of you is expecting this to become a depression? And we're basically up to the point where all of the ensembles are saying we should get a depression forming, okay, around the Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana coast. A depression is still very, very weak, so it's important to know that. But notice the difference when we look at the ensembling showing a tropical storm forming, 10 or so percent. So out of all of the European ensembles, 10 or so percent of them are trying to develop this into a tropical storm. And a hurricane obviously is far less. So it all comes down to that land interaction, okay? So let's just look at our broad shot of Futurecast, okay? And you notice it kind of pulses up the activity during the day Thursday as it kind of works its way back around. Let me bring this back. And again, this is Futurecast. But watch out, it kind of rides along land, kind of takes a dip south Thursday morning, and then around Louisiana, our Futurecast tries to pulse it up just a little bit. Okay. Whether or not that plays out, we just have to watch, wait, and see. But no matter what, we have known flooding was going to be the biggest threat with this system, and that's still going to be the case over the next few days, shifting its focus, though, certainly away from us and kind of getting over to Louisiana. So for today, it's the west coast of Florida for the concern of flooding, all the way through the Gulf Coast into Louisiana, watching that flooding potential. Then for tomorrow, flooding is possible from Mobile Bay across Louisiana all the way through to Lake Charles. And then on Friday, flooding is likely west of New Orleans, okay? Um, that is going to be the biggest concern. And we've said this before, and especially when it comes to weak tropical systems, remember, It's not about the name, it's about the impacts. And that's what, I know I say stuff like this a lot, and it just drives me flipping bonkers. But it's like when I see the hype machine going and people are talking about, maybe Dexter's forming. Who cares? Let's talk about the impacts. Let's actually try to help people. So that's kind of where we're at. All right, flooding, growing concern. So there it is, pulling away from us, still throwing a bunch of moisture our direction. Notice into Thursday, still throwing a bunch of moisture our direction. Whether or not it develops in the Gulf, it doesn't really matter for all intents and purposes. It's still going to throw a bunch of moisture our direction, right? So rain chances are going to remain somewhat elevated. Today, tomorrow, Friday, 60%. Normal is about a 50% coverage of rain, 40-50% for us in Florida, okay? We'll get back there this weekend into early next week. But for now, we're going to keep that rain coverage just slightly elevated, all right? 95, 96. Friday, Saturday going to get blasted hot, kind of on the backside of this low. We're getting that warm southwest wind. Anytime you get a southwest wind in our area, it's not the most fun, at least in terms of temperatures. Okay, so that's kind of a look at. We're going to go dive deeper into Invest 93. That's just looking at the hits, runs, and errors, okay, for it right now. All right. Now, that said, boy, do we need some rainfall before this. And if you've watched Coffee Talk for a while, I take it very, very seriously to try and give perspective and to try and just to help you understand the weather world, right? So for Central Florida's climate, we always need a, a tropical system. We need tropical downpours to help us in the rainfall department, right? I was in the helicopter, what, last week, the week before, and was talking about this deficit in Daytona Beach. Daytona Beach at the time was like 8.5 inches behind where we should be. Let's look at that now. The latest rainfall numbers around Central Florida, still in a deficit, but it helped. Orlando, an inch and a half surplus. Sanford, 2.5 behind. Leesburg, about an inch and a half behind. Daytona, you've recovered, though, from an 8-inch deficit to about a 5 and change inch deficit. And Melbourne, still in a pretty decent deficit. Now, did have a rainfall record. Okay. Daytona Beach yesterday got 2.25 inches. The previous record for that date was 2 inches, set back in 1935. So there you go. That is why we need a weak tropical system to help us. We got it. Hopefully, we'll get some more of it. We had flood advisories, though, and of course, flood and flash flood warnings that were posted. Now, looking to Louisiana, they have a flood watch already posted. And this is the National Weather Service's way, and that goes into Mississippi as well. This is the National Weather Service's way of saying flooding is something we have to watch, right? So for the folks in Louisiana, they cannot say they have not gotten a warning. This is the warning. If you've got friends or family that live in that area, they just need to know. Because Louisiana, and I'm not just talking about New Orleans, but Louisiana as a whole, can flood. The drainage isn't the greatest, so certainly have to be concerned with that. What's so interesting to me is how Central Florida can handle rain. Doppler radar showed 8+ inches of rain in some spots. Here's some of the official numbers, though, around. Not official, but some of the gauges that we saw. Places in Volusia like Port Orange got over 6 inches of rain. Ocala over 5 inches of rain. DeLand, Mims, right? So we got a really good swath. And if I were to pop up here, give me a second. Watch this. So this is our live radar, but I'm going to turn this around a little bit. 24-hour rain. Okay? 24-hour rain. Let's look at some of these areas here. Right? That purple shade there, that's what I was telling you about. Doppler radar showing 6, 7, 8 inches in some of those spots, right? That's wild rainfall. That's in a 24-hour stretch. You can see Volusia County got a significant amount of rain. New Smyrna Beach area, 2.7. It's funny, Daytona Beach, 1.1 at least in the area that I clicked. At the airport, it would be, yeah, there's the 2.6. Looking Tiger Bay area, 7.6. Deltona, 5.7. Astor, 3.3. And all of this is flowing into the rivers. The good news, though, is that for right now, all of our rivers are fine. Nobody is in any flood stage. Okay, so love that. Love that for us, right? So that's kind of where we're at in terms of impacts from Invest 93. Still, we're bringing that moisture in. So for today, it's like humid as all get out. It's like disgusting humid outside. I feel it. I feel like you gotta feel it. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. It was it has been humid outside, to say the least. Um Looking at the afternoon, we'll get that humidity converting over to showers and thunder showers. So let's do this. Let's dial up the Futurecast machine and let's kind of get an idea of where our day goes. All right. So we start off this morning. It's beautiful. There's 11 o'clock in the morning. We're looking good. Starting to see a few of the showers popping around 12. 1 o'clock, East Coast sea breeze moving in. 2, 3 o'clock, showers around. 4, showers moving through the area. 5, 6 o'clock, everything's working out west. So that's Futurecast. Let's change over. I want to look at the HER model, which it's the high resolution rapid refresh for those of you that are new to Coffee Talk. Let's see here. Type the darn thing out. Okay, all right, here's the HER model. And this is the hourly. All right, so showing by about 12, 1 o'clock, a couple of showers along the East Coast, a couple of showers popping around the metro, getting into stormier stuff around 3, 4, 5. There we go. All right, so this kind of makes a little more sense. So 5 o'clock, storms around, and then by 6, 7 o'clock, getting a little more widespread. 8 o'clock, widespread storms. That kind of makes sense. 9 o'clock, storms around, and then kind of quieting down. All right, I like that solution. I think the herd has a pretty good grasp on it. So that's kind of where we're at. In terms of high temperatures today around Central Florida, right about where we should be this time of year. 92 in Orlando, 91 out west in Leesburg. And Ocala, 88 degrees, Daytona Beach, 89 in Melbourne. All right. So, whatever your plans are today, we're going to have a little bit of sunshine. I love that return, right? So, Volcano Bay, maybe you're heading out to the water park. Just have to know that into the afternoon, we do get those thunderstorms kind of popping on up. We can handle that. It's doable. It's what it is. Summer in Central Florida, right? All right. So that's kind of where we're at. All right. I'll pop up the 7-day forecast. We can chat, and then we'll look at the computer models. We'll look at the GFS, the European, all that fun stuff. But anyway, let's take a pause and let's talk about questions, comments, concerns. Jamie says, I remember you saying Florida needs those tropical systems to survive or something like that. Yes, Jamie, that's correct. That's exactly why. Because we get significant rains, and that's what kind of catches us up. We've always needed that. Yeah. Yep. Let's see here. I have a flight tomorrow, 10 p.m. Do you think this weather will extend till then? I mean, I think that at that point in time, things should be calming. The question, of course, is going to be, are there any residual delays at that point? So, yeah, let's hope. Let's hope you'll be having an easy travel day. Shauna was going to go to the Volusia County Flea Market this morning at the fairgrounds, but it's closed today due to flooding. Oh, interesting. Didn't know that. Also, I didn't know the flea market was open on a Wednesday. I guess I just figured those things were weekends. Oliver, why is it pronounced her? Shouldn't it be har with extra R's? Oh boy, har. I see what you did there, Oliver. Thank you. Goodness gracious. All right, let's see here. Janice, do I need a shave? Do I need a shave? Listen, I'm not working this week, so it is what it is. Mr. Mike, thanks, buddy. Gotta wear the Bucky shirt today, right? All right. So we've got that wet weather pattern. We're tracking Invest 93 moving away. Let's look at the model data though, and let's get of course I have to log in because why wouldn't I? Oh, you go Vault. Yep, 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 yep. Delete sessions. All right, I'll check my email just for you. So fun. All right, stand by. Too many people are logged in, then I have to do that. Hit confirm. This is why Coffee Talk is not ready for TV, because we are clearly not professional. All right, maps. Go to the GFS. Excellent. All right. We'll do pressure. Okay. Oceanic. All right. So here we are. This is raw computer model data. So what we're going to look at first is going to be the GFS. This is looking at mean sea level pressure with normalized anomalies. So it's over accentuating high pressure, it's over accentuating low pressure. The blues that we're seeing there in the Gulf, obviously, Invest 93. Okay. And first thing we're noticing is that the GFS is trying to have the lowest pressure hugging the coastline. And to that point, it never gives it the opportunity to really materialize into a depression much. I mean, it just keeps it super weak and sloppy. It's fine with me. Super weak and sloppy. So that's that. All right. Beyond that, let's just roll through and see if there's anything else of interest. Looks like it's wanting to do like a little bit of a deal down in the Bay of Campeche. Nothing significant. Look at this, though. All right. So we've got like a backdoor front coming in around the 22nd of July. Around July 22nd, little area of low pressure over Florida. And then back into the Gulf. You see that? July 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. So, of course, my curiosity is like, all right, let's just check and see. July 22nd, 23rd, 24th. Does that show anything else in the Gulf? July 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. A very similar scenario. The area of low pressure kind of sneaking in, working into the Gulf. July 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Y'all ready for this? Okay. Another part of that recycling weather pattern showing up on the GFS. There you go. July 22nd, 23rd, 24th. That is tied to the Sarah part of the pattern. Okay. So does that mean in a week's time we're going to have to watch the Gulf again? Yep. There it is. Part of the forecast that we came up with in February, now absolutely showing up again in the models. Does it hurricane? God, I hope not. But it's showing up. Isn't that something? And it's like the same exact weather pattern. Little area, sloppy area of low pressure, moves into the Gulf. Okay. And then back over toward Louisiana. And then there's something else kind of into the Gulf there. You see that around the 29th? Yeah. I don't want to see that around the 29th kind of creeping in. I'm just going to do this. The 29th, the Northern Gulf low, July 29th. There it is, July 27th through August 2nd. We're entering into that busy phase where there's just so much activity in the Gulf. And the GFS is kind of hinting at each of these little pieces. Okay. I'm not saying that all of them are going to form. It's just patterns that we have recognized. All right, let's go over to the European. Let's see what the European's showing. It's so interesting, this long range forecasting stuff. All right, so there goes. Now, the European is definitely wanting. So, what the European's trying to do is it's basically saying Invest 93 reforms a new area of low pressure over water and then has the opportunity to come in as a depression. Okay, high pressure builds in. That makes sense. 20, 21st, 22nd. Have to go to the 0Z to be able to go further out. There's that next area of low pressure around the 25th. You see it there. So the European has that as well around Louisiana again, right? And then back to the 30th, something else. When we put out our long range forecast, we knew that there was going to be these kind of two pieces of, there was going to be this half of the cycle was going to be super quiet, half the cycle was not. So here we are, this current one is what we call the slow Gulf low, okay? Its recycling date, July 16th through the 23rd. We're watching that happen right now. Then the models were showing that next one. That was directly tied to Sarah. Look at those dates, the 22nd through the 29th. And then the models are showing that. And then the question is, the GFS was starting to show something around the 27th through August 2nd, the Northern Gulf low. So all of these, yes, they all keep showing the Gulf. But if you see on the different models, they were trying to find these little pieces of energy in the Gulf. So it's interesting to see how this all plays out. Does it mean that all of them are going to hurricane? Absolutely not. We're not saying that all of them are going to hurricane at all. But we're watching these little crumbs, these little breadcrumbs that the models are showing. Right. Let's switch over and look at some of the ensemble products. And I'm just going to go like way out. So there's. You know what I love, by the way, is when people say like future Dexter is coming and then it doesn't name. That's why you don't do that. Anyway, soapbox over. All right. Some ensemble support. There's the 28th. Yep, we knew about that. And then, so ensembles are not going crazy on anything just yet. It's fine with me. Let's go to the European ensembles. Yeah, the European wants to try and do a little something for Invest 93. Nothing significant. I like nothing significant. I don't want anything significant. There's the 27th. Not a ton of ensemble support for anything. Totally good with me. Totally, totally good with me. I will take that any day of the week. Right? So that's kind of where we're at. Watching the long range weather patterns cycling through, of course. It's all about pattern recognition. That's what we're doing. In the meantime, though, we're watching the showers and we're watching the thunder showers. All right. What do y'all think? Is it interesting watching these things cycling back through? What do you think? This year's weather pattern is like a quick bam, 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 and then quiet until it recycles again. Mickey over on YouTube says exactly right. It is. It's like very, very quiet, very, very active, very, very quiet, very, very active. It just kind of comes and goes like that. So yeah, that's absolutely the way that's absolutely the way that it is. Yeah. Yep. Ah, good times. So much fun. All right, what else do we have? Robin says that is amazing. What did it look like on June 12th? What? What? June 12th? I have to go back and look. Well, you warned us the Big Bend Gulf Coast would be under the gun this summer. That's true, Terry. That's exactly what we had discussed. Yeah. Jamie Lopez, for the people that hype, that's the next two. I guarantee you, once this thing comes in, mark my words. Mark my words. Come here. Mark my words. The second that Invest 93 is done, the hypers are already going to be like, we're watching our next threat. We're watching our next Dexter, what's the next name on the list? Hold on. See, yeah, y'all may have a memory about this stuff. I do not. 2025. What are the names? Dexter and Aaron are on their way. Oh, you can vault a smear. You can always tell the verbiage, man. Like you can always tell when people are just like writing with certain. Okay. Let's see here. So potentially back-to-back wallops come August and September. Usually what you see is one of those patterns is weaker, one of those patterns is not. So it's not back-to-back. What it could be, you know. It's just pattern recognition is all it is. So it's not a matter of like predicting hurricanes as much as predicting parts of the weather pattern that could yield those storms. That's what it is, right? It's too hot out. Gen X Sherry says, "Oh, it's muggy. Look at the heat building though Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's not fun. That's when the heat kicks." Uh, Oliver says, "Our company level emergency manager likes to hype, but says that they don't. When we start to have meetings about upcoming storms, he always talks 2 levels up from forecast." I mean, I've found in my 25 years of forecasting in Florida that to keep the hype down is more work. It's easy to hype and it's easy to get just carried away, you know? Are you still Daddy Shark? Asking on YouTube. Are you still of the opinion that the Panhandle and Upper Gulf sees the bulk of activity? Absolutely, absolutely. And Invest 93 is just continuing to show that. Yeah. Oh, Adam, that sounds so cool. Jealous. Janice, just kind of lots of new graphic stuff I've been working on. Yeah. Jane, love your weather pattern predicting. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah. Karen, do you have the coastal 7-day forecast? Yes. I don't know if Kellyanne did it, but here it is. She did not do it. Showers and storms around. She didn't update it, so showers and storms around. There you go. Heading to Florida today from the Houston area, Sarah says. We've been on a road trip this year from Scotland. That sounds like so much fun. Oh my gosh. Sounds like so much fun. All right, Nikki, be good. Any other questions, comments, concerns, my friends? Anything at all? We've got showers, we've got storms. Otherwise, it's going to be good. Yeah. Colleen, good morning. Huh? I have no idea, Colleen, what you're saying. So we're just going to move on from that. It reminds me of jams in the 80s. There you go, Gen X. Of course. All right. Questions, comments, concerns, everybody? We've got storms in the forecast this afternoon. Otherwise, it's going to be sunny until then. I mean, it's beautiful out, right? Like, just look. I didn't pop up the tower cam, but like, look how pretty it is. Clear skies over at the Kennedy Space Center. You got to love that. Man, oh man, oh man. Love that. All right. That's all I got. Listen, be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you for hanging out for Coffee Talk. We'll continue to track the tropics and our local comments and all the things. All right. Be good. Take care.